Hey guys, I hope you're all doing well today. I just wanted to get on here and say thank you for all of the messages and the acts of kindness that you have shown my family, not just today, but this entire year. Actually, since I've been pregnant, it's been a long journey. And I didn't think I'd get on here and start crying, but right away, but I know that a lot of people, have asked me about Zion's story, and that day I was just, so much going on to be able to share what happened the day that he was born. I know I've said little things about me doing a face plant to the concrete and all this stuff, so it does get everyone asking questions. And so I thought I would just hop on here. I'm sitting out here like I always do almost every night that I'm home anyways, and just watch the sun go down and rock on the chair. It's just, I'm a grandma by heart, I guess. I guess I was a geriatric patient. That's what they had on my record, so it fits. So, last year on June the 15th in the morning, we got up like we normally do. The specialist that I went to, I was going to 3 times a week because, I was high risk, and so was the baby. And so we got up and got ready because there was an appointment that morning. I believe my appointment was about 10 o'clock. And we actually had some appointments that afternoon. We had a school that we were looking at for my son for middle school that we were checking out. And actually, my husband had planned a surprise baby shower that night. And I didn't realize this until later that they said, yeah, we were all going. He said plans are canceled. So it was a crazy day for a lot of different people for a lot of different reasons. But so we got up and got ready, and I woke up that morning, like always, getting ready for the doctor's appointment. We were going 3 times a week for the past 2 months. And on our way there, we have an hour drive, and we was just talking, about life and just nothing out of the ordinary that day. And we get to the specialist office, and because it's an hour from where we live, it was in Orlando. I had to use the bathroom because, when you're pregnant, you have to use the bathroom like every 5 minutes, it seems like, all the time. And so I was like, oh my gosh, I have to use the bathroom as we were getting off of the exit. So when we pulled up to the office, my husband said, I'll let you off at the front, and you go on in there and use the bathroom and get scheduled in. And then Josiah, he was with us. He said, Josiah and I will park the car and we'll be right in. So he pulls up to the front there, and where there is, the entrance to the specialist office, there is, a ramp that's handicap accessible. So the ramp, it kind of like leverages up. Well, here I'm 9 months pregnant, as you could see in the other post how pregnant I was. And I was due on June the 30th. So we were getting close to my due date, but we weren't, close enough. And we were scheduled for a C-section actually on the 30th. And so when he pulls up, I put on my mask because of COVID restrictions. We still had to wear a mask. And I go to get out the car. So I had my water in my hand. I get out the car. I shut the door, and then my husband pulls off to go park. Well, as I am going to walk in, I'm thinking I'm on the flat part of where the ramp is, and I'm not. I missed the lip, and I went face plant right into the concrete. And so my son in the back seat, he saw that I fell, and he hollered, Daddy, Mommy fell. So they pulled back up. There was a guy on the bench that came over to me, and I had put my arms down by my stomach to brace the fall. So the cup went, I had put my arms down because I was trying to protect the baby. And my head, when it went down, it hit, like the top part of my head. It was like in my hairline, so you couldn't even see anything. And so the guy from the bench, he comes over to give me a hand, and I'm like, here, when you're 9 months pregnant, when you're trying to just get up from the ground, period. And I was hurt, my leg was hurt, and I was embarrassed. And I was like, just give me a second. Well, then Josiah and Josh, they come over. Well, the first thing that Josh sees is the water from the cup. And he goes, did your water, like he was trying to figure out if my water broke. And I said, no, that's my cup. And so they helped me to get up, and my knee was bleeding, and I was like, how's my head? Because my head hit pretty hard, and I guess I got a pretty hard head, because you couldn't even tell. And so I got myself together, and he was like, you probably should tell the doctor that you just fell. And I was just so embarrassed. I didn't want to tell nobody. I was hoping that nobody except the man on the bench saw me. And so as I went in, the lady was inside the entranceway, and she was like, are you okay? And I said, yeah, I'm fine. It's embarrassing to do a face plant like that. I said, I'm always so graceful, and then you add pregnancy and then a mask where you can't see when you look down either. It was just a disaster, for me it was. For other people who may be a little bit more graceful than I am, it probably wasn't. But so I get upstairs, and I go to the bathroom, and my knee's bleeding, and so I go to the bathroom, and I clean myself up. And so when I came out the bathroom, the lady that was down in the lobby, she went to tell them that I had a fall. So we go into her appointment, and the ultrasound tech is being a little bit more quiet than normal. And I'm asking questions, doing small talk, because here, I've went 3 days a week. I feel like these people are people that I know. And she says, okay, well, I'm gonna go show the doctor your pictures, and he'll be in to talk to you, and that's normal procedure. So then he comes in, and he said, there's some things that I want to see. She's going to do another ultrasound so I can see. And he said, did you have a fall? And I said, yes, I had a fall. And so anyways, so she did the ultrasound, and I could tell he looked a little bit nervous. He was trying to remain calm, which I'm sure he's used to very stressful situations, but I could just see in his face he wasn't in his normal demeanor. And I kept looking at Josh saying, is everything okay? Like, did that cause something to happen, So he comes back in. He says, okay, we're going to send you to the hospital. We see some fluid on the lung. Now, in the last ultrasound, because I was going 3 times a week, there was this tiny bit of fluid that they saw there, so they didn't know that if it had anything to do with the impact or not. But to be safe, they were going to go ahead and send me. I was right at 37 weeks, 4 days at this point, and so they were going to send me to the hospital, get me admitted. That way they could monitor me overnight, and we would have a planned C-section in the morning. So I said, well, we live an hour from here. We didn't bring any of our stuff. And we, my son, we have to get him situated as well. And, the plan was my parents were going to come down from Virginia and stay with him, because he's used to staying with my parents a lot. And so he said, well, you've got time, you go ahead and take her over there right now. She doesn't need to go home. That way they can start monitoring her to make sure she's okay. And I want you to go and get him situated. Go get your bag. You already have it packed. So I was telling Josh, okay, so this is exactly where my bags are packed. Make sure you get everything. Don't forget this bag. Don't forget that. Everything that I had planned and was ready for in case we had to run out the door. So Josh, we leave the specialist office, and he takes me over to the hospital that I was at, and he drops me off there at the front, and he's like, "Are you sure?" And I said, "Yes." I said, "We're going in the morning, get him situated. That way, it won't be stressful. It'd be, just real, peaceful delivery. No worries, And so he called his parents, who live on the other side of Orlando, to see if Josiah could go stay with them, because, my parents are 18 hours away. And so they left. I went in, I had the paperwork to be directly admitted, so I wouldn't have to go through triage or anything like that, and was directly admitted to the hospital. So they took me up, I believe it was to the 5th floor. This was a women's hospital, so every floor, that's all they do there is have babies. It's a baby hospital, I guess. And so they took me up to the 5th floor and got me in and put the things around my stomach to start watching me, if I had any contractions or anything like that, get all my vitals, do all the things that they do, put you in the gown. And so Josiah was texting me on the way as Josh was driving home, and, I was letting them know if there was anything else that I forgot. So as we were sitting there, one of the doctors there on the floor, she came in and she said, what are you doing? And I said, "Oh, I'm talking to my son. I'm on Facebook, just waiting to have this baby." And then 2 nurses came in, and they were just staring at me, and I'm like, she says, do you feel that? And I said, "Feel what?" And she said, "You're having contractions, like off the chart contractions, back to back to back to back to back." And I was like, "Nope, can't feel it." And so while I was pregnant, one of the things that I was worried about during the pregnancy was that when I would go to get monitored 2 times a week, that when I would have contractions, I didn't feel anything. And so they said that less than 1% of women in the world, it's very, very rare that you don't feel your contractions, but less than 1% can't feel their contractions. And so I said, I don't feel anything. And she said, "Is it okay if I check you? I just want to make sure." Because at this point, another thing that had happened was Zion wasn't breech. If a baby is breech, it means its head is at the top of your stomach and their feet is at the bottom of the canal, coming out feet first. It's supposed to be where their head comes out first, and then, their shoulders and their feet. That's how delivery is supposed to happen if you do a vaginal delivery. So a lot of times a C-section has to be done because they're breech. But Zion was transverse. Transverse is where the head is on one side of the stomach and the feet is at the other side of the stomach. And so when she went to check me, she said, "Oh no, we have a problem." And I said, "What?" She said, "His butt is coming through your canal." She says, "I feel his little butt." And I said, "What do you mean?" And she said, "You're going down. We are having a baby right now." And I said, "You just sent my husband to Ocala. Like, we are not having a baby right now." And she goes, "Oh no, we're having a baby. If we don't go down right now and get you prepped and ready for a C-section, if he comes through the canal with his butt out, you can die and he can die. Like, this is serious. Like, there's no negotiation. You're going above everyone else that's scheduled for a C-section right now. We have to go now." And I said, "But my husband is in Ocala." So I called my husband, and they're getting all my stuff in the bags and throwing it, on the bed to make sure I have everything, all my belongings and stuff. And all these people are coming from every which direction, and they're getting ready to take me down to the 3rd floor where they do the C-sections. And so when I called Josh, well, actually, I called Josiah because Josh was driving. I didn't want to scare him. And I called, I said, "Where y'all at?" And they said, "Oh, we just pulled up to the house." And I said, "Get back. I am having a baby." And they said, "What?" you know, you're not scheduled to have the baby till in the morning. You're going to have a C-section first thing. And I said, I'm having a baby now. They're taking me down now. Hurry up and get here. So they literally ran in the house, grabbed this one suitcase, threw it in the car, and flew to the hospital. And it was raining, and I was like, please don't wreck. And so I kept saying, I can't do this alone. I can't do this alone. Like, I just can't. I knew that there were risks of me. I had a blood clotting disorder during the pregnancy that they said, you know, at the beginning of the pregnancy, I needed to abort because I would never be able to survive a delivery. You know, all the things and the problems with Zion's heart that we knew about. And then, you know, here they said they thought they saw a spot on the ultrasound with the lung. So, you know, I didn't know if he would come out crying. But anyways, I was scared. Fear totally gripped me, and I was scared. And I just kept saying, I can't do this alone. And they would say, Mama, you're going to be fine. Mama, you're going to be fine. You can do this. You're going to be fine. Whether you have to do this alone or if your husband makes it, you are going to be fine. I said, I can't do this alone. And they would ask me, do you want a spinal block or an epidural? And I'm like, I don't know. You know, like my husband would know. But I just felt like I needed him to tell me what to do. And so anyway, they take me down and they get me prepped, get my stuff all in the system. They're like, they just want decisions right away because it was an emergency situation. So they wheeled me back to the room. I don't know if you call it an operating room, look like an operating room, but it's where they do the C-sections. And so we get in there and everyone's kind of introducing themselves very quickly. They're opening up all of the stuff that they use and sanitizing or, you know, sterilizing, whatever you call it. The equipment and getting ready. So everybody has their own part. And I, you know, if I had to guess, there was, I don't know, it was like 20 something people in there. And so the lady said, okay, I'm getting ready to do, I had opted for a spinal block. I had an epidural before, and, you know, I worried the whole pregnancy when I was with Josiah about an epidural. And, so I said, okay, let's try a spinal block this time. They said I said, between the two, which one can you feel your feet fastest? And they said with a spinal block. So I said, let's do a spinal block then. And as I was there, I just kept saying, I can't do this alone. I can't do this alone. I can't do this alone. And they said, you're going to have to do this. Like, you don't have a choice. And I remember she says, okay, listen, you can't move. You can't move. This is, you know, I have to go through your spine, and this is very serious, and you can't move. And I was scared. I just kind of like felt like I was shaking. I was like, how can I not move? I'm just so scared. I'm shaking. And she said, here's a pillow. Hold the pillow and close your eyes and don't move. And so I did that. I held the pillow. I held it as tight as I could, and I closed my eyes, and I was scared to death. And she was saying, okay, I'm going to go down your spine. You know what? And she was telling me what she was doing through the thing. But as she was doing that, I felt someone in the room come and put their hand on my shoulder. And when they put their hand on my shoulder, I had this warm sensation that went down my whole body. And she said, okay, I'm done. And when I opened my eyes, I looked around and I didn't see anybody. Everybody's busy doing their stuff. And I said, thank you, whoever put their hand on my shoulder. Because then I knew I wasn't alone. And I thought it was the lady doing the spinal block. And she goes, honey, I was doing her spinal block. What was she talking about? And I was looking around the room. And I just, I can't help but to believe that it was the hand of God that was saying, I'm with you. I'm with you. I'm with you. You're not alone. And after that, I had a peace that I can't explain. I just felt like, okay, everything's gonna be all right. And so they put the curtain up and they was getting ready to open me up and it's gonna start. And Josh made it right as they were putting the curtain up, just in the nick of time. And Zion came out and he was screaming his lungs, you know. And the doctor, they checked him out real quick and they said, you know, because of his heart, they had to take him to the NICU, but he looked perfect. He looked perfect. And today, as I sit here and I think about last year, I thought a lot about today. The hand that touched me, the fear that I felt, but the peace that came with that touch. And I know people will think I'm crazy for even sharing this, but I knew that day that God was with me. And he's been with us on this journey. He's never left us. He's never forsaken us. I've questioned my faith. I've questioned everything I've believed in, but he's been right there. And even though I've never felt his hand again, you know, tangibly, I remember that moment and I feel like he was telling me, I'm going to be with you. You know, we're not promised a perfect life, and we're not promised a life without problems. But he does promise us that he will be with us, that he'll walk beside of us. He'll never leave us, and he'll never forsake us. So, even as hard as it is, to not have my baby in my arms today, I know he's in good hands. Better than mine, better than Josh's. He's probably having the time of his life while I'm sitting down here bawling. But I know he's in good hands. So I wanted to share that with you today and let you know that wherever you're at, whatever life throws your way, God is with you. He won't leave you, and he won't forsake you. And I hope that you're encouraged by that in some way. I love you guys. Thank you so much for being with us on this journey. Thank you for walking alongside of us. Thank you for just sitting with us. Thank you for listening to me. This is kind of how I heal. Writing and talking and sharing. But I appreciate it. I appreciate it. And I didn't dress up for any of you, as you can tell. I've cried my eyes out today. Cried my eyes out. But tomorrow's another day. I've told myself today I've made it 8 months, but it's just something about the special days that hurt. And we have to give ourselves permission to grieve and to feel and to heal so we can heal. And maybe one day it won't sting as bad. But today it hurts. It hurts. All right. I hope y'all have a good night.